back to another round of Premier League predictions. It's match day 32 and the scores on the doors are 304 to Sim, 331 to me. A lot of making up for Sim to do from now until the end of the season. Not many game weeks left to go. The way the scoring works is 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result, and the star man. Once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season, and it's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's action, starting off at the Etihad. Manchester City against Crystal Palace. Really interesting matchup, this one. Obviously an Erling Haaland-less Man City against a high-flying Crystal Palace.
Palace in great form. However, going into this game, I've gone for a City win only because I've looked at the injuries and suspensions, and Palace are going to be without Guehi, they're going to be without Richards, and they're going to be without Lacroix for this game. So that's their back three done, really.
You don't want to put Nketiah into the mix?
Nketiah also done. So I think they're really going to struggle to contain City. But City obviously without Haaland, so they got their star striker. I think if they had their back three, I would have gone for Palace to get something out of this game. But because Palace are missing that first choice back three, I think they're really going to struggle in this one. So I still think the way they set up, and they always seem to have a good game against City. So I do see it being Palace having a good game, but I think City will just scrape it 2-1 here.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even take into account the injured and suspensions, but the suspended player, because Guehi got sent off and Lacroix went off with concussion, didn't he? So yeah, if I did take that into account, I probably would have gone for a Man City win. But I still think with the attacking talent that Man City have, they'll have enough. That Palace have, they'll have enough to cause Man City these problems. And sometimes when players are out, players stepping in can rally behind the team, and still the performance level doesn't drop too much. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for now going into this one. But I think it'll be a nice end-to-end game, open game, and particularly now with Palace's defenders out, it'll probably be even more open than maybe what I thought before. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my 2-2. Sim's gone for 2-1. Next up, we're going to go to Brighton and the Amex. Brighton against Leicester. Both of us gone for 3-0 to Brighton. No real surprises here. Leicester just can't score for love nor money. Haven't scored a goal since like mid-January, since they played Spurs. And they're just getting battered week in, week out against a Brighton side who have gone off the ball a little bit recently, but this is the perfect game for them.
Yeah, and I think Brighton were in great form up until a couple of games ago, where they've lost the last couple of games really in frustrating fashion. But I think this game, what can you say? Surely against this Leicester side who haven't scored in God knows how many games. They've set a record for the most games lost without scoring as well. They're in dire straits at the moment. Ruud van Nistelrooy looks like a guy absolutely lost on the touchline when he speaks in interviews as well. I can't say anything but a resounding Brighton win. Leicester just seem to have lost all hope and fight. At least when I look at Ipswich or even Southampton, they seem to have a bit more fight about them. They seem to give it a go and try and still play. Leicester just seem like a team just given up at the moment.
Yeah, and they've given up for quite some time as well. So I think Leicester are completely done and dusted in this season. Brighton, a convincing win, no doubt, this weekend. Next up, Forest against Everton. Not many goals predicted here. Sim's gone for 0-0. I've gone for 1-0 to Forest. I feel like I'm just backing the team that are on better form. Forest have been brilliant at home all season, and I can see them just about getting over the line with a 1-0 win. And I think it'll be hard fought from both these sides. I think Everton will, make it very, very difficult for Forest to break them down, but I think they will eventually break them down, and it'll be 1-0.
Yeah, I think Forest just love scoring from counter-attacks. Everton love a draw. Everton aren't going to give them counter-attacks. So I think this is going to be a really frustrating game for both teams. I think a lot is going to rely on set pieces and those kind of moments. I don't see Forest from while Everton are in a low block really breaking them down too often, but I also don't see Everton doing too much against Forest as well. So I went for a bit of a drab 0-0 here.
A Forest fan ain't going to be happy with
no,
you once
not.
again. I swear, if there was a league table on the Forest predictions, they'll be like in the relegation zone.
Maybe.
Next up, Southampton against Aston Villa. Both us ones got the same scoreline here in 3-1 to Villa. Usually I don't predict Villa wins after European exploits for them, and they had a very, very hard game against PSG out in Paris on midweek. But they do have a deeper squad now. I think they're managing it a bit better in recent weeks. And against the Southampton side, they're just losing week in, week out. I can't see anything but a Villa win.
Yeah, and I think the fact they can bring in the likes of Asensio, bring in Marlon, even Watkins likely to start in this game potentially, given he didn't start in the midweek, that is great firepower now they can have to come in. And obviously they're really going for that top four at the moment. They're only, at the moment of speaking, they're 2 points behind. And fifth, by the way, was confirmed as Champions League. So they're only 2 points behind fifth. So they're right on the tails of Newcastle and Chelsea. And they know they have to win if they've got a chance of making top four. So I'm sure they will. They'll get the job done.
Arsenal against Brentford next. Both of us gone for the same scoreline here again, 1-1. All these same scorelines not good for you, Sim.
No.
Yeah, I mean, with Arsenal and Brentford, Arsenal are clearly going to have one eye on that game against Real Madrid, albeit they are 3-0 up, but you still can't take that lightly going away to the Bernabeu with any sort of lead. Real Madrid, one early goal, and that could be overturned in a flash, albeit I don't think it will be overturned, but I think, there's definitely a fear of that. A tiny bit of a fear of that anyway going into the second leg, and I think Arsenal will firmly have their minds on that fixture, and it was a very taxing game for them as they absolutely battered Real Madrid in midweek. And Brentford, we know they can cause any team problems with their counter-attacking displays and their potent attack, so I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1 as well. I think it's going to be a difficult game for Arsenal. I know they did very well against Real Madrid, but I don't know if they're can rely on basically Rice scoring these kind of free kicks every game. And I think obviously Brentford probably going to set up a bit different to Real Madrid did. And I think they're going to respect probably Arsenal a bit more, not going to be as open in the central areas. And I think this is the kind of game we've seen Arsenal struggle in recent weeks. So I think they're going to struggle again. We know the league form at the moment, unfortunately, they're 11 points behind. So I see them resting players for this game, for the Madrid game on midweek. So I think it's going to be a draw here, 1-1.
Chelsea against Ipswich. Again, we've gone for the same scoreline, 2-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea should win this. I think, again, Ipswich aren't playing too badly, but they just can't seem to get the results at the moment. They seem to be really struggling in kind of keeping the opposition out. Chelsea are not playing too well, but they seem to be just getting over the line, especially at home at the moment. And I think they'll just have enough quality to beat this Ipswich side. And they seem to be resting players in Europe at the moment for these games. Although Palmer started, they had a much rested team in midweek. So I think they should have enough in this one. So I went for 2-1.
Yeah, I just see quality shining through. I see this being a closely fought game, but I feel like actually potentially that the stuffing might have been knocked out of Ipswich a bit last week with that defeat against Wolves when they were winning going into the second half. So I think Chelsea will win, just about get over the line. But Chelsea not really playing well. But when they come up against these kind of teams, they do find a way. And I think this one will be no different. So 2-1 to Chelsea. Moving on to Anfield, Liverpool against West Ham. Sim's gone for 3-1. I've gone for 2-1. So finally we make a different prediction here, albeit not too different. But Liverpool not playing well at the moment. West Ham not really playing well and not really picking up results. So I just feel like at Anfield, with the quality they have, they'll get over the line. But I don't think it'll be a great game of football.
Yeah, I think Liverpool know that they've got a chance to really put another nail in the coffin here. And I think they're going to be up for this one. I can see it being a good performance. And especially, I know West Ham went to Arsenal and did really well defensively. But I do think Liverpool are just a different kettle of fish when you're looking at kind of how much they attack and how much further they have. I know they're still without Trent, but I think they should have way too much for this West Ham team, especially with the options they have. So I went for a 3-1 win to Liverpool.
Wolves against Tottenham up next. Both of us gone for 2-1 to Wolves. Again, we've gone for the same prediction.
Yeah, and I think, I think Wolves at the moment, they're playing well. I think they're confident. Cunha's back for this game as well. That's going to give them a real boost. And I think Spurs, we know we've taken our eye off the Premier League, especially right now. We've got European kind of games which are much more of a priority right now. So I think I can see maybe a few changes. Even if they're not, I can see maybe it not being the best game with the 1 hour on Thursday for Tottenham, when we know that's the big one away in Germany. So I can see Wolves taking advantage of that. And so I've gone for a 2-1 win to Wolves.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what kind of lineup Spurs are going to play. And Maddison has played 3 games in the space of the week, so surely that suggests he's not going to be playing in this game against Wolves. If he's not playing with Decky still out, you do think, like, where's the creativity going to come from Spurs this weekend? Wolves are playing well. They're getting good results quite consistently at the moment. So Spurs always find it hard to go to Molineux, and I think this one will be no different. And Cunha being back, I feel like it's going to be a Wolves win. So 2-1 to Wolves. And then Newcastle against Manchester United. Both of us gone for Newcastle wins. Sim 2-1. I've gone for 2-0. I think Man United will have one eye definitely firmly on that game against Lyon midweek. I think they'll make changes to suggest that as well. Newcastle, we all thought they would fall off a little bit after the Carabao Cup win. They haven't done that. I think they've won every game since then, and I think this one will be no different. And they're very strong at home, so 2-0.
Yeah, last time these guys played each other at Old Trafford, it was an absolute mauling. Newcastle really took them to the sword, and it could have been anything. I think United were lucky on that day to not have gotten battered by more goals. But I think United have improved since then, and I think in these kind of games against the better sides, they do tend to perform a bit better. But I still think Newcastle so much to fight for. This is their priority as well right now, with the Champions League on the line. So I just see them getting over the line. I see United picking up a bit of a fight, but I think Newcastle win, so 2-1.
And then last but not least, Monday Night Football, Bournemouth against Fulham. Both of us gone for 2-1 to Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham kind of in these kind of games are a bit smarter than Bournemouth, who kind of go hell for leather, go for a bit of chaos ball, and they've definitely just been running on empty a bit in recent weeks. And I can see Fulham away from home digging in deep and just taking advantage of that, picking their moments to go forward, being resolute, and just being a bit clinical, winning the game. I see Bournemouth going 1-0 up and Fulham turning it around and winning the game. So 2-1 Fulham.
Yeah, Bournemouth have actually lost their last 3 home games by 2-1, which it's quite surprising when you look at how strong that they've been at home pretty much all season. Fulham, on the other hand, on fairly good form. They have lost the odd game in recent weeks as well, but I feel like this Bournemouth team are pretty much checked out for the season. I think they're running on empty. I can't really see them picking up too many points from now until the end, and I think Fulham, they work a lot smarter, like you say, than this Bournemouth side, so I think they do take all 3 points in a 2-1 victory. And we move on to the star men. Sim's gone for Marco Asensio.
Yeah, Southampton away. I'm pretty sure he's going to start because he didn't start on in the midweek against PSG. He's been in good form, done really well, and Southampton, I'm sure, will be licking his lips. So I've gone for Asensio.
Yeah, and I've gone for Danny Welbeck. Obviously, I mean, there is a chance they don't go for Welbeck, but I think they will. He started the last game, the big game against Crystal Palace, got a goal. So at home against Leicester, you do expect him, if he does start, to get a goal or two to his name. So.
He was my star man. I had to change it, so that doesn't
bode
well. That doesn't bode well for you.
Have to wait and see, won't we? But yeah, I've gone for Welbeck. Sim's gone for Asensio. Let me know in the comment section below what are your predictions going into the weekend's games, and we'll see you next time, guys.